welcome back to the Gale Force Winds podcast. And this is a wrap-up of day one of the Energy NL conference. I want to thank Everwind Fuels for bringing us into this conversation, bringing the conversation to the trade show floor. True thought leadership. I'm Alan Dale. With me as always, my good buddy, Jerry Carew. Karen, tell us a little bit about yourself and then give us a wrap for the day.
Sure. Karen Hawko, and I'm an independent consultant. I've been in the oil and gas industry for 20 plus years. And the last year or two, I have found myself working in the hydrogen wind space. And I'm also on the Energy NL Board of Directors. And so I've been coming to this conference for a long time. And today what we've seen is an incredible amount of energy and a positive outlook for the future. I was also, a couple of years ago, invited to be on the Premier's Task Force around the energy industry. And that was during a time when things were very bad at the beginning of COVID. And truthfully, there was a lot of stress in the oil and gas industry about what the future was going to look like. And so fast forward 3 years later, and here we are at not an oil and gas conference anymore. It's now Energy NL.
Right.
And what does that mean? It means that we've got a whole bunch of new people here, a different type of energy, an enthusiasm that is just a pleasure to be here. Yeah. And it's also nice for me because I've been here a long time. I'm all new people here, so I'm meeting new friends and having different discussions about opportunities related to Everwind's hydrogen, related to, say, salt domes, Triple Point Salt Dome on the West Coast, to still a conversation about the importance of oil and gas,
right.
And maybe even introducing more natural gas production to help in the energy transition. So lots of great themes from all the speakers here today.
Opportunity keeps coming up in every single conversation. The type of opportunity that's generational, these are projects that families will be raised on. Amazing.
It really is. This morning the minister opened up the conference and, he had various themes, but it was really around government doing what it could to help promote business in the energy space. This is a big space for Newfoundland and Labrador from a leadership perspective. And he really set the tone for the day, starting off with, an update on the Crown lands decisions that government will be making in the next couple of weeks. And then turning to, say, the Equinor development and opportunities around what that means, and also talking about the exploration that's in the future, like BP's offshore drilling right now. And there's a huge amount of enthusiasm about what those results can look like. So it's been really positive. And then from a supply chain perspective, we've got all types of suppliers here. Mm-hmm. From KD Pratt to, I'm just looking around, We've got GRI, we've got ICI Innovations over there. A lot of great companies that have been in this space for a long time that are now diversifying and finding new ways to provide this type of service to the hydrogen wind developers here. And there could be thousands of jobs and procurement opportunities as a result of these new developments.
And welcoming and inclusive. Let's talk about diversity and inclusion.
Absolutely. I think, one of the beautiful things about the hydrogen wind developments that are coming to Newfoundland and Labrador, or the green energy developments, is that they're going to be in rural areas. So I do a lot of work in diversity and inclusion. And, when you're doing work offshore in an oil and gas platform, there are challenges to create a more diverse workforce. Women have really, while there are women working offshore and doing quite well, the numbers have still been challenged. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm hopeful that because we're going to be in rural areas, that and for long periods of time, 20, 30 years of employment, perhaps we can see a lot more diversity. And in fact, we're going to need more diversity because the Canadian labor force is significantly challenged. We have a labor crunch all over the country. Yeah. So I'm hopeful that through the government of Newfoundland and through projects like the Everwind project in the Burin Peninsula, we'll put programs in place to get a more diverse workforce, getting more women. Yeah. Populations have been on the decline in rural areas. We need to have programs in place to attract new Canadians.
And Karen, the conversation that we've heard all day here is around community engagement, community involvement, getting people in the conversation right at the very beginning. It seems like this whole renewable energy thing is saying, okay, we're going to do this right out of the gate.
Absolutely, and it's absolutely mission critical. these wind farms are in communities. They're going to be around communities, hopefully not too imposing, but nevertheless they are going to be there. So it's very important to have a conversation at a very early stage. But even when we talk to, say, the organizations in the province that lead in diversity and inclusion, the number one piece of advice that we've heard is early engagement.
Yeah.
By early engagement, you can build education programs, you can get into the school systems, you can actually have a longer term perspective about what the workforce can look like and what it needs. So it's been mission critical for Everwind on the Burin Peninsula, getting in there. They've had over 30 meetings. And on the diversity side, we've had well over 15, 20 different conversations with organizations. And the feedback has been, the more we can have conversations, the more we can plan better, align with community interests, and just have a better long-term perspective.
Yeah.
It's been incredible.
I have to tell you, this has been a wonderful show so far. And, I said at the beginning that Everwind Fuels sponsoring this podcast brought us into the conversation, brought the conversation to the trade show floor, but that was actually your idea. And I want to highlight it that it was actually your idea to bring the conversation to the trade show floor. So thank you for your leadership on that. I'm sure everybody appreciates the conversation. This conversation will go on for a long time now, right?
I think that you have a magazine style of bringing the business community to, a social media platform. And I really appreciate you bringing authentic conversation to help people tell their stories. So I felt that when we were looking at doing this, not only with Everwind as a sponsor, but for Energy NL overall, I thought, this could be a really good way to communicate about how we are moving from an organization that was primarily based on oil and gas, fossil fuels, to now just a broader transitioning, I shouldn't say even transitioning, it's evolving to a broader energy mix that will hopefully help the world navigate through some very challenging climate challenges that we have right now.
Well, one of the things I want to say about that is what our mission has been is to educate the youth. I think, younger demographic watches it online, social media. Our youth in Newfoundland, Karen, need to know there's so many opportunities. This money that was talked about, the investment, $50 billion. There's so much opportunity for youth, and thank you for bringing us here.
I agree.
Really appreciate it.
Young people right now, I'm not sure that there's a real awareness, and I think that the onus is on the developers, the onus is on social media,
Yes.
And we need to be able to help our young people see that staying in Newfoundland and Labrador and building a livelihood and a career in the communities where they are is a real option.
Yeah.
When we all grew up, many of us had to go away. I went away to Toronto for a number of years. I'd like for our young people to see the opportunities to stay here and build the workforce of the future here.
Well, I have to tell you, that was a wonderful conversation, a wonderful show so far. Thank you very much for your leadership in this space over the years. We certainly appreciate it. I tell you, there's steady hands on these tillers in Newfoundland right now, and you're one of them. Thanks very much. That's a true Gale Force win. Thank you very much.
One of Newfoundland and Labrador's leaders right here.
You're so kind.